think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel. I just don't understand Christmas, I guess. I like getting presents and sending Christmas cards and decorating trees and all that, but I'm still not happy. I always end up feeling depressed.
Charlie Brown, you're the only person I know who can take a wonderful season like Christmas and turn it into a problem. Maybe Lucy's right. Of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Browniest.
Hey guys, when I was in 6th grade, there was a club in the neighborhood that I had just moved into. The club president made everyone do all sorts of lame stuff to get into the club. Everyone wanted to be in the club, and so they tried all the lame stunts that Troy asked him to perform. The thing is, Troy never actually let anyone into the club, ever. That's why I was totally blown away when he said I made the cut and can come up into the attic of his garage. Yeah, that's where the clubhouse actually was. But I made it. I was in. Now, I tell you that story, and it seems a little less exciting than it was when I was 11, but hopefully you get the point. Because all of us have been surprised to be invited to be a part of something a time or two. Maybe you made a team that you didn't expect to make, or you got accepted into a club that you had to apply for. Or maybe you felt like you were in a friend group with people who were way more popular than you actually are. Well, if you've ever thought to yourself, how did I even get in here? Then you actually have a lot of common with some of the people at the very first Christmas. So let's go back, like way back to the very first Christmas. For thousands of years, the people of Israel were waiting for the Messiah, or their Savior. He was the one who God had promised would come and change everything for them. The one who God promised would come and save them from all their sins. Now, as people waited and waited for that to happen, a lot of people had ideas about how it would happen. And they had even more ideas about who would actually get to hang out with or be close to Jesus, the Savior of the world. But everything about how the Savior arrived to the world was surprising. Most people thought that he would only hang out with religious leaders and kings and people with lots of power. But instead, let me give you a quick look at what really happened. From Luke chapter 2. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people." Now we'll talk more about what happened during this very first Christmas in the weeks to come. But for right now, I want you to know one thing. The first people invited to see Jesus, the Savior, when he was born, were shepherds. Yeah, you heard that right. Now, you might not live in a place where there are a lot of sheep, and maybe you've never seen a shepherd before. But back then, shepherds weren't the most well-known people, right? They weren't rich, they weren't powerful, they weren't super religious, and that's why it was so shocking that an angel not only showed up and announced to them the news that Jesus, the Savior, was born, but they were also invited to go see Jesus for themselves. I have no way of knowing for sure why God chose to let them know first, but I do know he does everything on purpose and for a reason. And I can't help but think that he was making a point about what kind of people were invited to see Jesus. Not the super rich, the super powerful, or the super religious, but also the shepherds. And what's so cool is that the shepherds were just normal people like you and like me. Now you might be thinking, that's great, but why does this matter in the middle of a stay at home and listen to youth group stuff online in the middle of a pandemic? Here's why it matters. Because you're invited too. Think about it. You could have been anywhere else right now, but instead you decided to come here. Now, it's not as cool as hanging out face to face, but you did it. Maybe you're excited to come. Maybe you weren't too happy about it because someone, your parents, made you come. No matter what you felt before you started, I want you to walk away from here knowing this. You are invited and you belong. You belong here, even if the space isn't in person. I don't care if you act a little weird or you believe what everyone else believes or do anything specific to belong. When we reopen face to face, the real you is invited here. But until then, I hope you'll tune in next week where we'll talk more about showing up, being surprised, and seeing for yourself what Jesus and Christmas is all about. Thanks, guys. We'll see you then.